Welcome, Chris Evans Radio. We are back with little Dave, and we both have some more facial hair from last week. His body fat's coming down. I hope my muscles going up, and our facial hair is growing. So it's in a
Yeah.
good spot. So, how's your week been so far, man?
So far, it's been really good, actually. The weather's been super nice, like immaculate. It's like that right before it gets hot kind of area
Oh, right,
where the
yeah.
weather is just like, this is fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's been nice.
That's how it is in Virginia. Like, I will say it's pretty damn hot today, but that was like the first day of the year so far where when I walked the dog, I was like drenched in sweat. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I took the dog for a walk and it was hot. Like, it's funny because it's hot, but there's like a cool breeze,
right.
which legitimately feels like AC's on.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just so nice.
And I mean, I don't know how you feel. I've always loved or preferred prepping in the like spring to summer
Oh, yeah.
over fall to winter.
Yeah. Actually, I laugh about this all the time because the
Oh,
first like 3, 4 shows we did,
mhm.
I prepped all of them were in the fall and winter.
Right. Yeah.
And then the first time we prepped in the summertime, I was like, Jesus fuck, I'm not trying. Like, usually that meant I was stuffing my face in the summertime.
Right.
So I'm always uncomfortably hot, always sweating.
You're right.
And then so the first time we prepped in the summertime, I was like, this actually is really nice.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's
And
like
plus,
my
like,
body regulates heat way better because I'm not
oh,
the thermic effect of food isn't happening. And
right.
then I'm leaner. So it's
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
I get 2 wins, and then like not being as insulated.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
everybody complains about being cold, but like, it's actually kind of nice just being the right temperature.
Yes. And it's always good too. It's like if you happen to get invited to a pool party or the boat or an ocean or beach, you're like,
Yeah,
all right, like I'll strip it all down,
yeah,
blow some people's mind, and then like, or it's really hot outside and like all your veins are like spattered throughout your arms and legs all day. It's just a fun feeling. Uh,
yeah,
and why? And but the number one reason for me, that's like what you said, is you aren't just chronically fucking cold. Like
yeah,
as much as I enjoyed that prep I did last year, like it was just miserable. Like,
hmm
and I said to Chris Shaw, because he competed 1 week after me. I said, man, why in the fuck are we doing this winter shit? Now he lives in Florida,
Oh
so
yeah, that's
not
way easier.
anymore. But a couple weeks before, he was in Wisconsin at like 10 degrees, and then with wind chill, it was below zero. So
Yeah,
he's like, God, is this what you feel like in Virginia? I'm like, yeah, man, it sucks. And
yeah,
then
yeah. You get
stupid
out of your
ass
car and you're like, will I die from this walk to my house?
right. And then, listen, I had like crazy prep brain at the end, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna on my off day from cardio, I was like, let's get up. I was wide awake. I was like, let's do an ice bath outside. It's like 32 degrees. It was a fucking horrible idea.
Right.
It's like,
You have to
oh,
like go inside and turn all the burners on the stove.
yes, yeah, yeah. Turn the oven on broil and open it and stand in front of it and
Yeah,
make my eggs. You're damn right I did that.
yeah.
And what's like really funny is I don't know if I've ever shown this. I have a space heater like it
Oh
says
yeah.
my desk. So I would just crank that bitch all day, like
hmm
and stay warm. So that it felt nice. I'm gonna be like pants and a hood and have socks on,
Yeah,
emails all day. But yeah, I mean, I've always felt like the summer just works out best for preps,
yeah.
and it's also good for traveling too. Like if you have to go anywhere, you don't have to worry about snow and flights being canceled a lot. So
Oh yeah,
it tends to
100%.
just, what I think, just align better in general.
Yeah,
So, and I joked to Angela, I was like, the reason I'm not competing in 24 is I wanted to get back on that summer show schedule.
I like it.
Uh,
That's funny.
yeah. So listen, you had two good, like what I would call like a moderate or low for you carb days. Um,
hmm
refeeds, however you want to view that, where I bumped up your food, and that worked so damn well. One day you went hypo a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
So
That was actually really funny because I was mid hit and I was like, I did a round and then I like I was like still like I was kind of fucked up from the hit and I was like started like like the vision closing in. I was like, oh cool, so this isn't from the hit. And I was wondering how much like my brain was just fucking with me, so I just got off and checked my blood glucose, and it was legitimately at 45. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll heat up my last meal now. And then I ate that and it stabilized. So it's like, also by the way, there was zero carbs in that meal.
yes, just
So
meat and fat.
yeah. Um It's not an insulin problem. You don't need to fix anything. Just eat something.
You didn't eat IHOP?
No, right? Yeah, for real, right? Yeah. Do I need a full sugar soda, some Gatorade, a couple Twinkies, and a Pop Tart? No.
Right, right. I remember there was one day in prep last year where I was standing. I'd waited a touch too long to eat, and I was standing at the stove making my meal. And Angel's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." And she's like, "Well, really, what's going on with you?" I'm just a touch hypo. I was like, I just need to get this meal on me fast, right? And she's like, "Well, are you going to add anything to it?" I was like, "Absolutely not. Just take a deep breath. It's going to be fine and pass."
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, I think I had like 12 ounces of diet soda, and then it was like chicken and asparagus. And it's like, just take a deep breath and lean into that shit. Like,
Yeah.
now, if I passed out or something, that we might be having a different conversation. But listen, if you do this bodybuilding shit long enough and you get lean enough, like, it's just kind of part of it. I'll have it happen to me doing like hypers or reverse hypers, anything where my head's like below my heart. If you just sit up a little bit, you're like, oh fuck, and you see spots, or you sneeze and see like those dots everywhere. It's like, hey, like, I know everyone always freaks out and think they're gonna go into like a diabetic coma and die, where it's like, just take a deep breath and lean into it, man. Like, your body's I think you said this, your body's good at surviving. Like, it's not just gonna keel over because you hadn't had carbs in 13 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
and what's funny, I think sometimes like the low days, even though you might feel a touch more drained energy wise, it's the days where you feed a little bit of more carbs that your body wants to start like hyper rolling through it. So, I mean, I've had it happen on low days, I've had it happen on high days, on medium days, and I think you're the same way. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there was that one prep where I was like, take your glucometer and Rice Krispie treats to the gym, and if you get low, just smash one and keep going.
Yeah.
And listen, I've never told anyone else to do that other than myself. So I trusted you to be intelligent with that. And if my memory's right, you did not eat the Rice Krispie treats. So
Yep. They just stayed there.
right. You just sit there and just tormented you. You're like, you're good, motherfucker. Tighten up.
Yeah.
So the lesson of us going through that is a lot of times, like, just take a deep breath in situations like that. Like, when you've competed multiple times, like, hypo will happen, and sometimes for no reason. You just don't know why. I'm sure some medical doctor could explain it to it way better than you and I could. But I mean, there's been times where I've hit 80 grams of carbs with a meal and I can feel it coming on, and it's not because it's lack of food. So word to the wise: have a glucometer, test it, and just be smart.
Yeah.
Now, the topic you had for us, and the great thing about you being in prep, and I joked to you when you gave me like 3 or 4 topics like right after the other, I was like, oh my God, like, I miss that fucking brain of just being hyperactive.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. I think we talked about this, like, whenever we decide to retire, this kind of area is where I'm definitely going to try to live.
correct.
Because
Yes.
you have enough food to function and enough food to train really hard.
Yes.
But then you're also hypersensitive to all of it.
Yes. Yep.
Right. You notice the extra food when you add it in, other things like that.
Yep.
But your productivity and your, like, that's what a lot of people are talking about, like, when they are actually talking about like making your brain work better.
Yes.
It's all from those things.
Yep.
However, like with bodybuilding, we don't usually get that. Off season, food's got to be high. So
Right.
we have to, so that means you're going to have you're going to more work for your digestive system.
Yep.
Right. Which is going to slow down blood flow everywhere else to a degree.
Yes.
And then elevated blood glucose, like if your blood glucose never increases over bulk, you did great, but you also didn't bulk hard enough.
Yes.
It should increase. It shouldn't just go, it shouldn't shoot up. But it should be creeping forward as you push food. That's how it works.
Yes.
And then managing that in between cycles is how that you make progress. But you're not going to make progress if that's always flatline. People, they laugh about that. It's laughable.
Yep.
But like I was saying, like for your brain to function, like it doesn't always go in pair with what we want with bodybuilding. So to have the better brain function is honestly going to be one of those key things because it's like, cool, we function really well like that.
Yep. What I've always heard with retired bodybuilders is they always lean towards like, oh, I'm going to do keto, I'm going to do carnivore, I'm going to do paleo, like fill in the blank, right? And I think what they are searching for is what you just described. And why I said to you is how this is how I'm going to live when I retire from bodybuilding. Like, I want to have 2 days that are low food. I want to have
Mhm.
3 days of like base, and then I want 2 days of high. And I joked to you, I was like, I just want to be able to keep taking insulin and get a huge pump, feel like a bodybuilder again.
Yeah.
So it's like when if you manage your food that way, as you said, you're super insulin sensitive. You can see and notice changes. If you're starting to eat a food that you become intolerant to or just doesn't sit well with you, you notice it like that. And you're like, oh
Mhm.
shit, that didn't sit well. Then on top of that, my body weight is going to start coming down. So instead of hanging out at, say, 240, I'll be like 215, 210 and feel incredible. So
Mhm.
going back to one of your points is my heart and my organs have to work less hard because I don't have as much mass on me. And I'm
Yep.
leaner. So listen, if we go anywhere, pop that shirt off, look respectable, right? Like I realize I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be big my entire life, but I also don't look like a fat piece of shit either. So it's like,
Yeah.
you
Well, it's
know,
always really funny because it's just like this never ends.
you're correct.
Like, probably going to be eating meat and rice for the rest of my life.
Yes,
A, because I like it.
right.
B, because I know my body functions well in it.
Yep.
Because if I go from the way I eat now to let's say I was just eating like the normal American, I'm just gonna feel like shit all the time.
All agreed. Yep.
You know, and like, why would I want to live like that?
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, like I'm not saying you have to be as strict. Like, if I cook a steak and I don't like, I know it's more than 8 ounces. Like, I'm not gonna give a shit.
Cool. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, like, cool. Is that 8.5? Cool. I don't care.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
guess here's what I've always thought, right? Like if I'm gonna lay out a plan, because these are like things I stay up at night and think about. Like wake up, do some sort of fasted cardio, whether it be a bike, stairs, walk outside, treadmill, something. Then I'll eat like protein, fat, and some vegetables. And then meal two, I'll start introducing some carbs. Meal three, I'll have a fuckload of carbs. I'll have intra, train, have protein and carbs post lift, and then go nothing but protein and fat the rest of the day on a normal base day. On an off day, I'll probably go zero carbs and just do meat and fat all day. And then on high days, it'll just be like medium protein, high carbs, and low to moderate fat, and just feel like a machine. Like, so if you train 4 days a week, you have 2 high days, 2 base days, and then 3 off days. It's as simple as that. And then you probably have like a meal in there where Angela and I go out to eat. Simple as that. You wake
Yeah.
up, do cardio every morning, probably some sort of like yoga or kind of stretching mobility, still get massage work done. Like, I just don't think it's that challenging to just continue this lifestyle. But
Yeah.
like, and again, like I'm going to continue to coach. So if someone comes to
Yeah.
town, I want to be able to bang. Like I'm going to be able to train. Like, and you can't do that if you're fucking 35% body fat, eat like garbage, and or you on the flip side of that, I wither away to nothing because I don't eat forced food in my mouth every day. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think so many just don't think about life after bodybuilding and then are lost and they have no purpose. Well, it's like
Yeah.
fuck, man. Like, what about just feeling incredible?
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. I watch how great my brother looks and feels year round, and it's because he's always active. And
Yeah.
something to that. I mean, he's only 2.5 years younger than me. So, we're roughly the same age. So, he doesn't eat like an asshole. He exercises like a maniac, but he doesn't stress about it. So that's the keys to life from Chris and Dave.
Yeah.
How to retire effectively. And oh, by the way, my blood markers and everything with internal organs and health, I have to believe will be better.
Oh yeah. There's no way they wouldn't be.
Correct. If anything, our body's gonna be like, oh fuck yeah, you took the weight vest off. Thanks. Not in quite such a big meat suit anymore. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this actually is a perfect segue into a topic you had, which is need versus want, right? because again, I've talked to tons of bodybuilders that retire, and when they stop competing, they lose their reason or purpose, and they're like, oh man, for the last 5, 10, 20 years, I've restricted food, and they want to eat everything, like, and not exercise and not do cardio. They just like, I just want to chill. And you may want that, but you definitely don't need that. The body thrives off of movement and quality nutrients. And no one can tell me fucking different.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah.
So when you came to me with that topic, what did you have in mind? Like, was there something that jumped out at you or something that really sparked that thought?
A lot of different things, honestly, because like when you can go into training, like people will refuse to take rest days because they don't want to,
Fuck. Yeah.
or they don't want to go to the gym. If like most people, I feel like on this podcast, you probably like training,
Correct. Yeah.
so it's probably the opposite. I don't like taking rest days.
Yes. Agreed.
That usually is just like, a little bit of backwards thinking and then overthinking and overcomplicating.
Yes.
But that goes with a lot of things too. Like I can't tell you how many times, like, Jesus Christ, like it blows my mind how many times I've competed or worked backstage and people are pigging out on shit food. And it's like, dude, you're still 18 weeks out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I slap your ass right now, it's wiggling.
Yep.
Like why the fuck do you need 10 brownies?
They don't want it, they need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I posted this last week. I really feel like, so in this new age of people training, and I'm not saying just competitors, anyone who wants to gain muscle, burn fat, look better, they have this marriage of a thought process that to me is really immature of the more I train, the better I look and the more I'll grow. And I get it. I've been there. I know you've been there. I think we all have, which is why I say it's an immature thought process, because now you and I know if you go in there and train a body part right, it doesn't need more. And more doesn't equate to more growth. Because, as we've always said, if you do it right the first time, you don't need any more. A lot of times, when you and I train together, like I'll have more in mind, and then we just don't do it. Because guess what? We don't need it.
Yeah.
I may mentally like, oh man, like I'd love to do an exercise, but I realized that the muscle is trashed. There's nothing else productive that's happening today besides my ego or looking cool in camera or fill in the blank. And at the end of the day, that works against our bodybuilding. Because as you and I both know, the keys to muscle growth, in my opinion, all day long will be 4 at a max of 5 days a week training.
Yeah.
If you train hard. Now, if you do some fluffy volume RPE shit, completely ignore me. You could probably do that 6 days a week.
Yeah.
But that's not how you and I train. That's not how we recommend gaining muscle. I just had a guy reach out to me 2 days ago, and he's like, Chris, can you recommend a 6-day split? I feel like I'm just bored if I sit around the house. And my advice was get a hobby. Like, like start reading, grow a business, get in a part-time job, do something. Like in the gym more isn't the answer for muscle growth. And what I've seen, and I know you've seen this as well, the kids who are always in the gym and posting that shit like, what's rest day? They're under 200 pounds.
Yeah.
They
or they look this, or they don't change.
Yes. Yes. Yep. And it's got to be because they're married to this, like the more training equals more growth, and they don't realize like rest does a body great. And what I recommend to those people a lot of times too is like schedule a massage when you're supposed to train that day. You know? Like just fill that gap. Go hit golf balls, go to a shooting range, like whatever you enjoy doing. Take a nap for Christ's sake. Because these people are also the ones who are like, I can't find time to nap. Okay. Take your training down to 3 or 4 days a week and nap when you're going to train. Watch your growth go this way. But then that fucks their ego, right? And what I've always thought, because when I started with John, I was training 6 days a week. He made me train 4. And I knew in my brain I wasn't going to outsmart him. And I thought, like, oh my God, not only did he reduce my training by 2 days a week, he's drastically cutting my volume in almost half. So that made me think, okay, I have to make every fucking 12 sets count. If I had 12 sets for legs, every one of those better count.
Yeah. And
And I think
that's the smart way to do it. It's one of those like we've talked about this before. It's like one of those more is better unless it isn't.
Mhm.
And this concept somehow gets blown. Like people don't understand it with bodybuilding. But if you were baking a cake and it says to put, or let's do cupcakes. Because you use a fucking, because you use a fucking liner, right? It says put one liner in there.
Right.
Are you going to make a better cupcake by using 30 liners? Right? Why would it? Why would it even make sense? Like, it's not going to get stuck less.
Right.
Now you just don't have room for the batter.
Yep.
You don't have room for anything else because you wasted it all on something what you could have gone away with one.
Yes.
You know?
You know, what's really interesting is I don't know if have I ever told you about my analogy with like cake and contest prep?
Maybe I use that all the time with people and their drugs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I'll be like, you got your diet, you got your recovery, you got your training, and that's what's making up the base of everything.
Right.
And then the frosting and the sprinkles you put on are the extra supplements.
Okay. Yep.
You have a really shitty cake if you don't add eggs.
Right.
You don't have flour.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, those basic things need to be in there. No one wants a cake with just sprinkles.
Correct. Right. Yes.
Like, it's not even a cake.
Yeah. So here's what I always tell people with that analogy is like, if a cake isn't cooked perfectly at 350 degrees for 40 minutes, you have these motherfuckers who want to turn that bitch to 600 and cook it in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not going to be great. It's going to be burn as shit. It's going to be doughy in the middle and burn on the outside. Or on the flip side, you have these people who are like, you know, I want to slow it down, Chris. This is a little too hard for me. I want to add some cheat meals back in. So they try to cook it at 200 for 65 minutes. No. The right answer is 350 at 40 minutes. And I don't want to take it out a minute earlier until that timer goes off.
Yeah.
That's how I've always thought about contest prep is in my mind, I know the end result. I see it starting where we're at. And then I know it's going to take, I can usually get within a week of when it's going to take you to get in shape. For all my good guys who've known me long enough, I want them to be ready 1 to 2 weeks early. Okay.
Yep.
So just kind of work that math problem backwards. It's as simple as fucking that. And we all know that sometimes preps don't run flawlessly. You may have an injury, you may have a setback, you may get sick. Something in your life, stress may go through the roof. You may be able to stop sleeping. Something happens. So I always give myself a few extra little wiggle room. So I guess how I do that, I don't let you get quite as fat as normally you would in the off season. Because if I know I could have you ready, gun to my head in 8 weeks, and I give us 16, man, nothing's gonna fuck us up. I just go slow and steady that whole rep. And I think so many lose sight of that because it's not sexy, it's not attractive. They want to rush that beginning part of prep because, I mean, listen, you know how it is. You aren't big and blown out like you are in the all season, but you aren't lean yet. It's a weird spot to hang out at. If you train intelligently, you're still progressing in the gym and getting great pumps. I've always felt like for me, I just call it like an extended off season, that first 6 to 12 or 6 to 8 weeks. And it's like, man, everything's clicking. I'm fucking flawless with things. I'm not missing supplements. I'm not missing rest. I'm not doing anything deviant to bodybuilding. I've cut out my free meals. Everything's clicking. So if I can just ride through that and then I get to like 6 to 8 weeks and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in pretty damn good shape. And now we just fucking start amping it up each week to where you get it to where all the fat's off. Like, but so many want to rush that shit at the beginning, like Chris, like, shouldn't we add Clen? Shouldn't we add Tren? What about DNP? Shouldn't I be doubling my growth hormone right now? You sure you don't want to do cardio double or doing why? Why? And it makes me want to rip my fucking head out because it's like, that's what you want, but this is what you need. Because if I ran you that hard out of the gate, most people wouldn't be able to endure those last 6 to 8 weeks of actually being shredded early. Because as you know, because you've done it with me, to where I've gotten all the fat off and then we've had to bridge a long prep. It sucks being that lean for that long if you aren't mentally tough.
Yeah.
I don't love this shit. So I always have to manage that. Like if we have 2 shows and it's the course of a 25-week period, like thinking that most people can handle 6 months of hard contest perfect dieting, most can't do that. So we have to manage it intelligently. But it goes back to what you said the topic is want versus need. Like, I need you to chill the fuck out and trust me. As long as you follow the plan, I've never gotten someone on stage fat.
Yeah.
I've definitely had people on stage fat, but because they took things into their own hands.
Yeah.
And any coach that says they didn't is just fucking full of shit. Like, we've all had trash clients who don't follow the plan, refuse to not go to the show, and they look like hot garbage and blame you. It just happens. Like, it's
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, it's Chris's fault. Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Whatever
if you
makes you
actually
feel
took like a screenshot of actually this is one thing I've loved doing. I've not had to do it to a competitor before, but I've had off-season clients for sure. Now I've never had to do anybody in contest because it's really easy to see that.
Right.
But just out of the blue, I'll be like, hey, dude, take a photo of the next 6 meals for me.
Right.
And blows my mind sometimes in the off season where they're like, I can't do that. They're like, why? Because I didn't bring any with me. It's like, oh, so you've been lying to me about your compliance, because if you were your compliance, every check-in has been saying something other than this.
Yep.
Today wasn't a fluke. Today was a normal fucking Tuesday.
Right. Yep.
So this is what your normal Tuesday looks like, and that you wonder why we're not making the progress we see.
Yeah.
Is because you're telling yourself you're doing the shit, and the things you're doing are not the shit.
Right. Exactly.
You're like, oh, I'm eating on plan because I found things while I went throughout the day. You know, I didn't prep anything. I kind of just like, oh, I ate chicken and carbs.
Right.
It's like, cool. That's not the plan.
No. So I'm sure you relate to this. The amount of people who reported to me, like, I was 85% compliant. Okay, so in my mind, I'm like, either they did the math in respect, or they didn't do any of the bullshit and they just made up a number in their head to make them feel good about themselves. Because to me, when I reported to John, I would either put 100% or 0, because that's how the way I fucking look at this shit. I either followed the plan or I didn't. It's 100 or 0. I will always look at it that way. And I knew in my heart, I refused to write anything but 100% compliant with him, because I respected him too damn much. I wasn't going to have him waste his time, effort, energy when he could be working with pros and top amateurs on me, who was a fucking nobody, and put anything but 100. Because if he took 20 minutes out of his day to work on my meal plan, look at my photos, recommend shit training, change my supplements, I was giving him everything.
Yeah.
And
that's how I've always viewed it myself. There's no reason for, like, if I want to do this, and shit, if I'm going to pay someone to give me a plan, the difference between taking my money and giving it to that coach and taking it and putting it in my toilet and flushing it is the same thing as if you don't fucking listen to them.
Yes, agreed. Yep. And then they have the fucking nuts to lie to me about it. Right? And then I'm sitting over here like, what the fuck is going on? I know I increased your food. Your train didn't go up. Nothing's happening. Or I pulled food and nothing happened. What the fuck's going on over here? And it's like, I'm sitting here going crazy, where you could have just said, hey, Chris, like, 8 cheeseburgers for 3 out of 6 meals. Okay, awesome. That's why you're up 10 pounds. Got it. Go back to your normal plan. And I'm over here breathing easy.
Yeah. Well, then also that communication leads to other things. We've all dealt with hard shit in our lives, and learning how to overcome those things is how we got better. I didn't just wake up one day and was like, I'm going to be flawless on my meal plan.
Right. Yes.
Right. I've done that because A, I've worked towards it, and B, I've had 1,000 meals before I even started working with a coach.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I didn't have some 180 moment. I was already eating a meal plan when I came to you.
Yep.
You know, so it's that wasn't any big change. The quantity and what we did definitely changed, and then following that changed. Yeah. But learning to overcome those things, like, talk to your coach. Like, if you can't eat meal 3 because you have an office job and you always have a meeting at 1 p.m., cool, let's make that a shake. Right. You can definitely bring a shake with you anywhere.
Yes.
As long as you prepare it.
Yes. Right.
You know, like, you can't just be like trying to use a fucking Ninja blender in the office because you didn't prepare. But if it's already in a water bottle, no one's going to give a shit.
No. What you just said there is huge for 2 reasons, right? Like, I can't tell you how many times I've told people, just tell me what the issue is. 99 times out of 100, I've seen it. And I've helped multiple people through it.
Yeah.
No matter what that is, your digestion's fucked. Your knees hurt when you train legs. You can't get a pump in your shoulders. You can't eat chicken because it makes you want to feel like you want to throw up. Like, we faced all these issues with hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Just tell us. I guarantee you have a solution. If I don't have a YouTube video made, I will make it for you and send it to you.
Yeah.
Like it's that fucking simple. Like, and then on the flip side of that, when I worked with when I worked with Shelby, I was full time in the gym, and there would be days where I would send him an update on the way to the gym to go do cardio, and then he would change my meal plan when I'm driving to the gym with my food already packed. Guess what? I always had a fucking rice cooker and rice at the gym. I had protein powder. I had nuts. I had dried fruit. I had oats, cream of rice. All that shit was in my locker for work. I had a George Foreman grill, and then Kroger was literally across the street from the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew if I had to be at the gym from when I would get there for cardio, it would be 4 o'clock, start training at 5. And then if I wasn't leaving until 6, I knew I could move some clients around if I had to go run to the grocery store and get some things I needed. Or Angela would go to the store, bring it to me, put it in the office, put it in the fridge, or she just go in the break room and make that shit for me and say, Chris, it's in Tupperware, it's already weighed out. At a food scale, and it stayed at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Had back sleeves of rice cakes. Literally, you just eliminate all the fucking problems. If he wanted 450 grams extra carbs that day, you best believe I was eating that shit.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of people that I've had say to me, Chris, I'm already at work. I can't do anything. I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
What?
A minute ago, I had a contest prep guy, and he sent me his check-ins,
Mm.
and I was like, "Cool, we need to add food today." And he's like, "I'm already at work, can't do it." And I was like, "You smoking crack?
Right.
You can't do what? You can't add like if we're adding food like honestly, carbs are the easiest thing to cover, and that's what we're
hell
adding.
yeah. Yep.
You know, if we add 30 grams of carbs each meal, I could go right now to a 7-Eleven
Right.
and find rice cakes.
Yes. Yep.
I could go to Panda Express and be like, "Hey, can I get 6 cups of fucking rice?"
Right.
They'll
Yep.
probably be like, "Why?" But also, it's $2.
Right.
You know, they don't charge you up the asshole for that, by the way.
No.
You know, and they just cook it in a rice cooker.
Oh yeah. Yep. I literally had a guy once who needed carbs. I had him go to Wendy's and just get plain baked potatoes. He had a food scale.
Yeah.
He's like, Wendy's is across from my work. What can I get? I was like, literally get potatoes and then go to there was a 7-Eleven right beside it. I was like, get some bananas and apples.
Yeah. Exactly. Fruit. Yeah.
Literally simple as shit. So we ate white plain potatoes. I was like, just make sure you tell them don't put shit on that. If you just want, I said, get 10 of them because they're I think $1 a piece. And he was like, man, that was super smart. I'm like, yeah, like it's not a big deal, bro.
Yeah.
Like, problem solved on your feet.
Yeah.
Reach out.
Finding quality protein sources is going to be difficult sometimes.
Correct.
But like worst case scenario, shit, you could go walk over to Wendy's and be like, "Can I buy some of the grilled chicken sandwich meat?"
Right. Yeah.
Like that's not going to be the best.
Right.
But like you could figure it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Which is why I always like think if you have a job like that, like always keep a thing away isolate with you.
Yeah.
Always have a bag. And then worst case scenario, you go buy a carton of egg whites and heat that bitch in the microwave.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna taste like absolute asshole. Like it's not gonna taste good. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Dude, there was a time in my life where I kept a couple cans of tuna fish in my what's that called? In my car, the
console
glove compartment.
Yes.
Legitimately kept a can opener and 3 cans of tuna in there.
Yep.
Just in case like I ran late at work and I needed a meal.
Yeah. I mean, they even have, I know it's like crazy high with like preservatives and shit, but like they have organic canned chicken. Like,
yeah,
it may not taste as great as the chicken you and I eat on a daily basis or what you would have packed from home, but I feel good about it. I would feel decent about calling Logan's or Outback and saying, hey, can I get 2 fillets with no butter, no oil? Like just literally put those things on the grill. Don't season them. Don't put shit on them and just cook it. Medium rare.
Yeah.
go pick that bitch up, weigh it out, put it with my steamed rice from Panda Express, like you explained. Protein, carbs, fat, done. Like, and then if you wanted some salad, like just say, I want a plain salad with lettuce and cucumbers and nothing else. There, done. You have your vegetables, protein, carbs, fat, game over. As you and I have said, if you have a desire, you can figure it the fuck out. It may not be 100% ideal what you would do if you were at home, but if you told me, Chris, you need an extra 250 grams of carbs, you best believe I'm having that shit. I just am. Like, I'm not waiting until tomorrow, especially if today's like let's say a back day or an arm day, and you say, Chris, like you need more pump. Your arms are flat as shit. Okay, yes, sir. Done. I don't care if I have to eat rice cakes for 47 meals like Roman Fritz. I'm gonna get those damn carbs in me before I train arms. I can promise you fucking that. Like, I've canceled clients before and rescheduled them for later in the day so I can go get my food.
Yeah.
Find a fucking way. Like, there's I think so many people just they fail and think, oh, Chris, of course it's easy for you. Like, listen, I used to do landscaping with my dad all summer long. I wasn't missing meals. I had a big ass cooler. When we pull up to a job to do it, I take my food out of the cooler, put it on the fucking top of the engine on the truck. The thing would heat up in the sun and on top of the engine from the car or the truck. And then I was eating a hot meal after I finished mowing that yard. Did that all fucking day at the gym, training from 8 to 10, home, sleep by 11, do that day all over again. Preparation and desire always are the answer. And if you're in the off season, just always have more food. So if I increase it, up it. If not, just wait till the next day if it's the all season. But pre-contest, when your body's sensitive and we need to be as time efficient as possible with things, or if things are more dire, like if you're in the off season and I take your car from 600 to 650, it can wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like in the grand scheme of life. Now, I know you're going to add it as I would, but in pre-contest, it's a little bit different. If I said, hey, Dave, like I need you to get 100 extra grams of carbs in pre-lift today. That's a little bit more time sensitive in my opinion. Because, hey, I noticed something in your photos. We need to increase it. Or on the flip side, as I know you have, listen, I've pulled out fucking rice that I've pre-measured.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, I've thrown it straight in the garbage. Right. I've got it before we got the like I'm legitimately eating meal one. It's like, all right, we pull the carbs out. It's like, fuck you, pieces of toast.
Right. Yeah, yes. Yep. I mean, I've been on the Stairmaster, and let's say it was at 40 minutes, and then Shelby's like, hey, Chris, like take it to 45. Okay, cool. I'm doing 5 extra minutes. Like it starts now. And I feel like there's so many people who are like, I didn't see that email. Oh, bullshit, you saw it. Yeah. Like, we all know, bro. Like, I would feel so guilty getting off that thing, knowing he's like, I need 45 minutes out of you, and not stopped at 40. Like, yeah, no. We need to make the plan now.
Yeah.
and it comes
the desire and doing. Yes. To want something and not work towards it is basically the same thing as insanity.
Yes.
Never gonna happen.
Agreed.
You can look at photos of people in their swimsuits and be like, I want to look like that. You can do that all you want. It's not gonna make you look like that. It's the actions you do every single day like the boring shitty shit is what leads to fun outcomes with everything in life. Oh, you want to save up for a car? Okay, cool. Let's work more. Find an extra job, work a side hustle, do something else, sell crack, do something what's not going to be, it's not all flashy. Same thing with dieting. Like how many times, saying no is probably one of the best things you can learn how to do. Or no, thank you. Exactly. We've said this before. You don't need to be a dick about it, but it's comical. I legitimately work in a retail place and I get people coming in daily to give us free shit.
Oh yeah.
Be like, hey, we made this new honey dip. Now you want to try some? And be like, I'm good. I would love to. Maybe, there's tons of things where I'm like, that's an idea. I'll save that for the off season. Right. We'll have that, come down. And that's the thing is life is it's not always going to be no. There's times and places for things, but you have to manage like your wants with what you're going to do. And if you don't do that, you're going to constantly be the same.
Yep. Oh yeah.
If you're constantly chasing that dopamine rush of a free meal, And then also wondering why you're not getting to your progress or where you want to be. I wonder why.
The amount of times I brought food home from clients that gave me to Angel and the boys, countless. Like, here's these brownies I made you, Chris. Okay, cool, thanks. I'll let you know how we like them. And what that means is I'm gonna let you know what Angel thinks of them.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's just not a big deal. Like it's so frustrating for me because that's so easy autopilot. Like I don't think about that shit anymore. And I feel like so many others out there struggle with this because they battle with it in their mind. Like, be normal, have a balanced life, make your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, husband happy, make your kids, feel fulfilled. And I'm like, if you're with a partner who gives a fuck what goes in your mouth, it's the wrong person for you. Right? Like, I'm never going to judge her for what she eats, and she's never going to judge me for what I eat. Like, we came to terms with that before we ever started dating. Like, it was just, you're either going to fit in my life or you're not. And if you don't like who I am, you don't love who I am, that's not someone I want to spend my life with. Listen, I had that shit in college. It was fucking miserable.
I've lost track of how many times I've had that conversation. It's like, well, we're not changing for you.
No.
That's where so many people get so lost in fucking life. It's like, take your deep rooted beliefs and keep them. Stop changing who you are for every single person.
Right.
And stop being a watered down individual. And that's legitimately how you are a different person.
Yes.
If you want to be like everybody else, do what everybody else is going to do. But like I've said countless times, you want to be a bodybuilder, you do bodybuilding shit. You want to do something different, you got to do different shit.
Right.
It's not a hard concept. It's just a difficult one.
Yeah. I think a lot of times too, it stems from self-confidence, right? They're like, oh God, like they'll judge me for this, or they'll think poorly about me. Like, if they do, they're a shitty person, man. Like, it's really wild to me in this society that we live in today, where everyone says we're more accepting, right? Accepting of everything, but yet people are scared to be who they really are. Like, how does that make any fucking sense? Like, you have to, if you love taking hikes every Saturday morning, you better find a partner who's into that shit. Like, because that'll make your life so much more fulfilled. Or you come to terms with doing that with a friend or a buddy or by yourself, and know that person's gonna be home waiting on you with breakfast ready. Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be the breakfast I want, not what they fucking think I need to eat. That always gets me fired up when I get guys and girls that are like, oh, like, I have to ask my husband permission for this. Permission? Am I a child? Like, no. Fuck off. Like,
so true.
I'm sure you've had clients too that like hide the fact that they take steroids from their partner, right? I'm like, wow. I always try to put myself in their situation, right? It's like, okay, cool. Like, let's say I'm going to lie to Angela about that, and then she catches me. What else is she going to wonder I'm lying about?
Yeah, exactly.
You're honestly dishonest.
Yeah.
So what else are you not telling me about?
Yeah.
Like, or you can just be a big boy and be like, hey, this is what I'm into. This is what I do. It doesn't impact you. You're in or you're out.
Yeah. Or if you don't have the ability to explain to them why you're taking these things, you probably don't have the reason to take them.
Yes.
Right. If you're so worried about what they're going to think because you can't explain, oh, I need to take tests so this happens. If you can break it down and tell them exactly what it's being used for, chances are they understand so much better.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's just like, all right, cool. If you want to get Botox, cool. I don't care if you want to make your lips puffier.
Right.
It makes you feel better about yourself. I'm doing the same shit with, different way of working cosmetically.
Right. Yeah. Great. It's anything, right? Tattoos, breast implants, fucking BBLs, all that shit. Just own that shit. Hey, I don't like that my tits are small. Awesome. I like big tits too. Like, I'll take you to the doctor for Christ's sake.
Right.
It blows my mind. Like, I've literally hated being skinny. Hated it.
Mhm.
look in the mirror and just like, God, no more. I don't want this anymore. Like, and if I can find a way to fix it and fix it faster, hell yeah, sign me the fuck up. Like,
Yeah.
and then on the flip side, like if I have to lie about it, like it's not deep rooted enough because it's pure vanity at that point. Like, as opposed to I'm doing this for this reason and I'm going to do it intelligently. And here are the consequences on the backside. Easy as that. So it's really interesting to me, like going down that route with people and thinking like, oh, well, they can't even explain to their significant other, like, I want to do another show. And they're like, oh no, fuck you, you're not competing anymore this year. How do you
Mhm.
have the right to tell me that?
Yeah.
That's between me and my coach. I will listen to your input.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's between me and you and no one else. My fault.
Yeah. So much agreed there. And there's obviously being smart with things. Like if you're like, oh, I'm going to do a contest prep and I'm 10K in debt. It's
Oh, right.
like you're fucking retarded.
Correct.
Like you just don't. They're justify that, please.
Right.
Right. But if everything's moving north, right, and you're doing good,
Yeah.
what is wrong with you having a hobby?
Agreed.
It's where you have to take the basically like I said, I mean, if you can make a reason of why you can do this, and it's not going to hurt you in any way, shape, or form, right? Fantastic, cool, have at it. It's those decisions are always your own. But as soon like if you start harming others with your decisions, that's where the problem arises. If you're doing a contest prep and now you can't, like your wife has to go hungry,
Right.
yeah, that's a different fucking story, but that shouldn't even be an issue.
You know, so I can tell you this. I've encouraged guys. They're like, oh, my wife like doesn't like my behavior in prep. I'm like, okay, cool. Specifically ask her what she doesn't like about your behavior. And then let's see if we can fix it. Like that to me will always be the correct answer, right? Like when it comes down to everything in this competing world. So I've asked people like specifically ask your spouse what they hate about you prepping. Is it you're short? Is it you're never there? Is it because you're tired? Like, what is it? And then into life, like you have to realize that you may have to do some things on your end. Like some people get really negative in prep, and she hates that my behavior changes. Okay, cool. Like, can we find some ways to strategize on not to do that? Can you have a
Yep.
safe word, so to speak? Like Angel and I have a really good rhythm when I'm in prep. Like she knows when I need a nap or need some time to myself. She'll just take the boys, go out and do something, just give me 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Come back, they'll go to the pool to do something, and I'll come back. I'll be in a great mood. I just need some time. Like
Mhm.
I've even had guys, I'm like, have you considered like going to marriage counseling and working on some of these deep issues? It's not a prep thing, bro. It's a you and her thing. Like
Yeah.
fix that shit. Because I've always felt this way, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Drugs and contest prep doesn't make me a different person. It just amplifies who I am.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I've always mentioned like what people love using contest prep as an excuse to be an asshole.
yes. Yep.
They're
Agreed.
like, "Oh, I'm hungry, so I can be mean to people."
Yeah.
Nope, your choice is it's your choice if you want to be an asshole.
Yes.
Always is. And blaming something on that's an excuse.
Yeah.
And excuses, legitimately, we all have them.
Yep. Oh yeah.
All of them stink. You know, and it's one of those things like you have to manage that. It's your job to, if you feel short tempered or all those things, those feelings are normal,
Yeah.
right? Yes, you're hungry. Yes, you got to accept that and realize, all right, cool. Did this person come to me or am I coming off as, right? And, just basic communication stuff like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of times too, guys and girls who may be instinctually lazy also lean into that when they're hungry. Chris wants me to rest. I need to lay down. I need a nap 4 hours today. Okay,
yeah.
maybe not 4 hours. When I said nap, I'm talking like 30 to 60. Like,
Mhm.
there's obviously a time to rest and relax and rejuvenate, but at the same time, like it doesn't excuse you from what I would call like life responsibilities. Like,
Yeah.
and the sooner you fucking realize that, like taking the dog for a walk, taking the trash out, doing the dishes, cleaning up after yourself. For me, that's coaching our kids' sports. Just because I'm in prep doesn't mean I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna coach football this year. No, I know I'm going to coach football from 6 to 8 p.m. in the fall. Okay, cool. Manage that shit, Chris. Like, I'll do it because I love it. And you know what's funny, right? So I'll get out there, I'll run around with them boys, I'll have an absolute blast on fucking 50 grams of carbs. But then you get home, you're like, oh man, the kitchen's a mess. I don't feel like cleaning that up. That that's a laziness issue.
Yeah.
If I can go
Oh,
play with them
100%.
boys for 2 hours, you tell me I can't clean up the kitchen for 20 minutes? Like,
Yeah.
it's as you said, it's a desire, it's a want to. It's, hey, I'm passionate about helping young kids play football and learn it and love it. I'm not really passionate about cleaning the kitchen up. But it just stems to back to like it's a responsibility. If you continue to let that fall on your spouse, they're going to resent you for it.
Yeah.
Chris was lazy and didn't clean up after himself for 16 weeks. Of course, she's going to be pissed when I don't do that. Or if you have a compassionate partner, they like jump in and help you out a lot. But when that prep's over, you better get back to fucking normal.
Yeah.
Like, you better pay that back. Like, and I think that's why so many people struggle with their spouse is because they just don't openly and honestly communicate with them. And it's back to they aren't honest with themselves. They aren't honest with their coach. They're lying to their wife. Like, no wonder you're miserable. No wonder you hate this. You and I sleep well at night because we just speak our mind, tell people how we feel, and just do the shit.
Mhm.
What is there to stress about, Chris? Like, there's nothing. Take a deep breath. No one's dead. I have my health. I'm in the best shape of my life. I get to train every day, eat 6 meals. I have a wife who loves me. I have 2 boys who look up to me. Life is great. This is fucking cake, man. Like, I'm not fighting a war. I don't have cancer. Like, all things that are hard. And, you know, it's even though I may want more diet food, for now, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Or in the off season, I may want to be leaner than I really am. But in order to gain muscle, I have to eat. If I want to eat. So that the next time I do diet down, I'm not the same exact piece of shit on stage.
Mhm.
And then, oh yeah, what do you mean? You worked for 2 years and didn't gain any muscle and you aren't better? It's because you were too worried about looking cool on Instagram and being lean because you wanted that, as opposed to what you needed to do was pound food until you couldn't stand up. Weird, right? Yeah.
So true.
It's the answer. Like, and I know there's been multiple times in the off season where you pray like, good God, if he doesn't pull my food down, like I don't want to be this heavy. And
Mhm.
every time comes showtime, you're in shape. You're like, man, I know why he did it. I have 8 to 12 more pounds of muscle on me every fucking time.
Yeah.
Because you listened and worked, you didn't freelance, and you didn't say, oh, you know what, I'm gonna sneak in some clean. I'm gonna do extra cardio. I'm gonna have the carbs in my last meal. I don't need 100. I'm gonna eat 50.
Right.
Stop outsmarting it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Just follow the plan. We'll figure it out. And if you get too fat, I'll tell you. I'm not that motherfucker. Like, yo, man, like we're too fat. I'm gonna add some cardio and pull your food down. Cool. I'm not about stealing money. I'm about getting results. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you have any final thoughts here?
No, that's pretty much right on the money.
Yeah. Yeah, as much as I love helping people, I almost wish I knew better ways to keep them like with it from getting out of the way of progress and just
Yeah.
accepting their fate, you know? Like, if anything, I've always felt like once I can crack someone's code mentally, I'm able to get there a little bit better.
Mhm.
One of the guys I have in prep right now, I'm probably going to have him on the show, and we're going to talk about the difference between prep 1 and prep 2 with me because he's night and day different conditioning, and it's
Yeah.
he worked on his mindset.
Yeah.
And I think I learned how to better coach him. Where for someone like you, I'm gonna be like, suffer, motherfucker. I don't care. Where him, it means a little bit more nurturing. Like, hey, I need you to give me 3 hard days. Like, really dig deep. Give me 3 hard days. I'll give you a carb. Or if we really push these next 4 weeks, we'll be ready 2 weeks early and we'll cruise into the show. So it's almost like where hope is show day and winning. It's almost like he needs a little bit of light where at the end of each week, at the end of each day, like there's something that's like, oh, it's not quite so bad. And at the end of the day, you'll both get in great shape, but it'll be different means of how I may present that as facts to you. You know, like
Mhm.
you know, as long as you've been with me, if your body weight drops pretty drastically or you get really flat, I'm gonna feed you.
Mhm.
It's just the truth. I'm going to. Where I think sometimes people are like, oh man, he's got my carbs at 100. He's never gonna give me any more food. Like, just take a deep breath, man. They'll come.
Yeah. Well,
One,
there are definitely coaches like that, but
yeah, yes, yeah, the ones who don't pay attention.
I've seen coaches take people and they're like, all right, cool, eat this. And then they'll change it in 12 weeks. And they're like, all right, cool, where we at? They're like, all right, here's the peak week plan. We got 3 more weeks, but here's your plan for peak week.
Right.
Don't forget to I need you to you can buy the Diazite off me. It's $100 a pill, by the way. It's really expensive for them to make this for what it, you know. Um, don't mind what it's actually in a capsule and it's not a pharmaceutical either. It's how they come from the pharmacy.
They pull it out of a fanny
But
pack. It's like a fucking Tylenol. You're like,
yeah.
this looks really similar to an Advil. Just take it, man. It'll work.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah, yes, you're right. You know, I think I forget sometimes because I was really fortunate and had three good coaches over the course of my bodybuilding, and like none of them were dirt bags. And you know, I don't coach that way, obviously. If anything,
Mhm.
I'm on the other side where I'm probably annoying to people, and they're like, I don't want to send him one more set of photos. Like, I know what's he even seeing in these? And I'm like, just get them to me. It eases my mind. I don't ease yours. And you know, it comes down to again, I want to succeed at this. And what I need to do to succeed at this is work and learn as much as I can about every fucking person that comes to me. So, like, if I can do that, and I've said, you know, I know I've said this to you before. I will never step on the Olympia stage as a bodybuilder, but I'll have plenty of clients that do. Like,
Yeah.
and I know that because I started out at 23 coaching people for competitors, and I had bottom of the fucking barrel trash clients, except for Angela, who was compliant, the most compliant person I'd ever met. And I just slowly worked my way up. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, well, I have guys who can win regional shows now. Oh, now I can have guys who can compete in the national level. Oh, I've turned him pro. Oh, cool. Now we're doing pro shows. Now he won a pro show. Awesome. Weird, right? It's just naturally going to happen. Like, you just got to keep at it. Like,
Mhm.
I think, you know, you and I've always viewed bodybuilding that way, right? Like, we aren't genetic freaks. Just got to keep at it. Food,
Yeah.
train harder, sleep, rest,
I
recover.
honestly, I think that's where we get the benefits because we do love this and we weren't genetically gifted in some ways.
Yes, right. Yeah, yeah,
You know, like I probably would, I'm not gonna lie, I probably have genetically gifts and pain tolerance and where a lot of people may be lacking there. But I got to learn things the hard way.
yeah.
So, and so did you. And learning from those things what didn't work.
Yes.
It might work for Juan Morel to have, 2,000 carbs from Ben and Jerry's, every other day.
Right. Yep.
But, some people can get away with shit like that. Some people, everything works like that. You add in some things that'll grow like a weed, or, but a lot of people don't. So if you can make changes on a lot of people, what happens when you do get someone who's genetically gifted?
Agreed.
Oh, wow. You know how to manage them even better.
Yes. Yep. And you teach them things that they haven't even considered because they've never had to consider it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want to get bigger. I add food, I add drugs, I train hard. You know, I grow, right? What else am I supposed to do? Oh, well, now I need to run towards the pain when I do legs. Yeah. Find the pain and stay there as long as possible. How do I do that? Repeated stress.
Yeah.
Desire. Like, what do you mean? 'Cause I think early in my life, like with training people, I had a hard time explaining that to them. They're like, hold on, so you want it to burn? Well, fuck yeah. What are you here for? Like, and you want to stay there until it's miserable? Yeah. I want to stay there until the fucking carriage is on the ground, damn it. Like, okay, cool. So now I have to teach people how to find that and want to be there. And then it's like, oh, I got a lot better last year by doing that. Cool. What if we go a little deeper this year? And it's just a fucking evolution process. It's like, you know, I know I might upset some people who hate Darwin, but that's all we're doing. We're that woodpecker fucking hammering that tree, man. Eventually that beak is going to get hard or it's going to break. Like, there's no way to say it. So there you have it. Wants versus desire versus need. Where does it come? Like, that's our opinions on it. It's just the truth. Just here's how I'm gonna end. Just fucking be better and hold yourself to a higher standard than you are
Yep.
today. And literally, if you have a good physique out there, other people are watching. Teach them the right way. Don't give them fucking God. There's a guy at the gym today who has an incredible physique who played on his phone for 40 fucking minutes on the calf raise while I trained my entire chest. I'm like, you literally are teaching the kids watching you that you can bullshit through workouts and look like you. Trash. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, I always love that. I always love that. I'll get people who ask, well, like, what about this guy? He doesn't eat that well, and he still looks good. I'd be like, imagine if he did eat well.
Correct.
How much better he would look. Imagine if that guy actually took his training seriously.
Yep.
How much better would he be?
Yeah.
You know, take that from one workout a week to all 5 of them being amazing, and then him doing that for a year, maybe 2.
Yeah.
The reason that change would be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and everybody out there is just scratching their head like, why is he growing? It's like, well, figured out a way too.
Refine the
Keep running.
That's all it is. Literally, it's just refining it. It's like, well, I grew like this off of 6 ounces. What if we took the 7 ounces of cooked meat? And what if instead of leaving 1 rep in the tank, I left 0? It's a simple, it literally, we guys and girls watching this, that's the takeaway for today. Like, it's little things done right over time that add up for those who aren't genetically elite. And then the ones who are genetically elite, like say Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, that take all the things that you and I preach and apply them with incredible genetics, and you become the best in the world multiple times.
Yeah.
Like,
take a gander at Chris Bumstead.
Yep.
That dude eats his meals. He trains his face off. You know, he's not out there doing stupid things. You know, he's doing what he should be doing. And he's been doing it for a while.
Yeah. Well, yep. I mean, and I can only imagine, you know, I've never been great like that, but can you imagine how much more difficult all of this is to do if you don't love it when you're wealthy and successful? Like, he could probably make more money than like just chilling in the off season than ever he is in a prep. But that has to speak for his competitiveness and competitive drive to say, I'm not done yet. I'm the best in the world by a long shot, and I'm going to continue to separate myself. Because so many people in his shoes, man, would have let off the gas a long time ago.
Yeah.
After 2 or 3 Olympias. Man, I'm wealthy as hell. I'm the biggest influencer on the fucking planet for fitness. Every young kid looks up to you. Like, you have a hairstyle and they literally copy you. You have a mustache, they copy you. You have glasses, they copy you. They dress head to toe in Gymshark or whoever he's sponsored at the time. They buy all of his supplements. Like, you know how easy it would just be to cruise and come home to your wife every day and just say, I'll train back tomorrow. Or you can be like him and be like, fuck you guys. I'm going to beat Ramon so fucking bad that they're going to say, why does anybody even compete with him? I always go back to, I think I've sent you that video of Phil Heath training in Pittsburgh where he's literally screaming, here's another one for you fucks.
Yeah.
And he's literally in there battling himself, having fights with God knows who, fucking Kai Green, anyone else he was competing against, Dexter Jackson, just scream it to those motherfuckers. Like, he's mad at the weights and had already won 4 Olympia titles. And has some of the best genetics on the fucking planet ever. And he's in there raging, finding ways to get better and separate himself to be the greatest of all time. Like, those are the lessons you need to take away from him, like, and learn from those champions. Like, to me at least, like, I don't know. And all that stuff fires me the fuck up because as you said, like, we just love this stuff, man. Like, it's bodybuilding short lived. It's a small chapter of our life. Might as well maximize it
Hmm.
and have zero regrets. That way, when you walk away and I'm not as big anymore, I'm like, man, I maxed that bitch out and had an absolute blast doing it. So,
Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna get buried wondering what if.
yeah, fuck that, man. Ugh, terrible, terrible. All right, guys. Until next time, Chris, little Dave, we're done.